Another live stream audio check. Check one, two. A live stream audio check. Check one, two.
Hi, Counselor Fortini. Can we test your mic?
Yes, good evening.
Thank you. Hi, Counselor Tour, can we check your mic?
Hi, good evening.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Planning Development Committee meeting, Monday, March 23rd. I'll do a roll call. Deputy Mayor Singh. Present. Councillor Santos. Councillor Vincente. Present. Councillor Brar. Present. Councillor Keenan. So I think Councillor Santos and Councillor Keenan are going to come in after. Councillor Keenan is trying to get online. Councillor Medeiros. Councillor Medeiros. Oh, we heard you. Councillor Fortini.
Present. Thank you, Councillor.
Councillor Fortini.
Present.
Councillor Tour.
Present.
Councillor Power. And if Mayor Brown is not, it's called to order. We have approval of the agenda. I'm going to add a discussion item that relates to the housing, wastewater management, the water report from the Region Appeal. I think we should have a discussion about that report. There's some inaccuracies as far as from what I can see. So, and then I have a motion, but I'd like to add that and be at 10.1. Perfect. Thank you, Clerk. Declarations, conflict of interest. Any member like to declare any conflicts of defer? Which two items are they, sorry? 7.5, 7.6 are being deferred at the request of the applicant, correct? Yes. All in favor? That's moved by Deputy Mayor Singh. That carries. Declarations of interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. Any members like to declare if they have a conflict that anything on the agenda here today? Seeing none. Seeing none online. Our consent agenda. I don't think there was anything that was really. What's 7.5? Right. 9.1, minutes, Active Transportation Advisory Committee. Consent. 9.2, Brampton Heritage Board. Consent. There's really nothing else other than that. Been moved by Councillor Brar. All in favor? That carries. We have no general delegations. Our next item is the statutory public meeting. So we have a number of items that are part of the statutory public meetings. And what does that mean? It means that somebody is bringing forward, even the city has initiated public meetings as well. So the city and applicants are bringing something forward for the public only, not for members of council to talk about, not for us to discuss, not for us to debate or provide any or ask any questions or anything like that. If a member of council wants to speak, they can go to the washroom and speak to the mirror, as far as I'm concerned, because these items are only here for the public. They're only here for you to listen and for us to hear what you have to say about those items. Then those items will go to staff. Staff will write a report. It'll come back to planning for when planning committee will debate and discuss and approve those items to be put toward to council. And then council will then ultimately ratify them. So I want to go through them. If there's some statutory public meetings on the agenda here tonight that you're not here for, then we're going to get those out of the way just by adjourning them. And by a show of hands, when I call out the item that you are here for, if you can just put your hand up, and then I'll just hold that, and then we'll come back to it. Okay? The first one is a city-initiated public meeting. It's an application to amend the official plan for minor clerical corrections, city-initiated, to propose an amending bylaw to correct clerical errors to the numbering of 8 previously adopted official plan amendments. The proposed changes are administrative in nature and do not alter the intent, scope, or implementation of the original official plan amendments enacted under the respective bylaws. So that's item 6.1. Is anybody here to hear a staff presentation on that item? Seeing, yes, you're here to, no. Your staff, you can. That item is adjourned. Thank you very much. The next item is 6.2, another city-initiated, it's an application to amend the Community Improvement Plan, CIP, for office employment. The purpose, to propose amendments to the Community Improvement Plan, CIP, for the Office Employment Bylaw 197-2024 to extend Bylaw 197-2024 to November 2027. Reduce the minimum square footage requirement and remove references to the Region Appeal Major Office Incentive Program. There are no delegations. Is there anybody here that would like to hear a presentation on that item? Seeing none, that item is adjourned. The next one is also a city-initiated public meeting. It is the application to amend the zoning bylaw to add a provision stating that window wells shall not encroach into the minimum obstructed path of travel to a principal entrance. The review will also include consideration of the provisions related to the encroachments in general into required yards and the paths of travel around dwelling units. Anybody here tonight that would like to hear a presentation on that item? Yes, thank you. Item 6.4 is a public meeting. It's an application to amend the official plan and zoning bylaw. Glenn Schnarr and Associates, Dualsco Construction, Inc., to permit the development of a commercial plaza consisting of 1 single-story commercial building and 2-story mixed-use commercial buildings with the commercial uses at grade and office uses on the 2nd floor, with at grade and below grade parking at 8680 Chinguacousy Road, southwest corner of Chinguacousy Road and Bonnie Braid Drive, Ward 4. Anybody here? Thank you. The next item has a delegation. 6.6 has delegations. 6.7 has a delegation. 6.8 has a delegation on behalf of the applicant, so I'm going to read it out. 6.8, application amend the zoning bylaw 8550 Goreway Portfolio Inc. and Canadian Tire Corporation, care of Zelenka Priamo Limited, to purpose to permit outdoor storage consisting of shipping containers, oversized motor vehicles, transportation trailers in conjunction with the existing industrial use. Location is 8550 Goreway Drive. Are there any residents that would like to hear a staff presentation on that item? That item is adjourned. Our next item is 6.9. 6.9 is an application to amend the official plan zoning bylaw G-Force Urban Planners and Consultants, Sukhjinder S. Sangha, to permit the development of a commercial plaza that will consist of 2-story buildings featuring 14 retail units on the first floor and 4 office units on the second floor. The project site encompasses 7,047.34 square meters with a total gross floor area GFA of 2,396.18 meters. It is located at 3288 Countryside Drive, Ward 10. Anybody in attendance that would like to hear a staff presentation on that item? Yes? (610) has no delegations. That is an application. Public meeting, application to amend the official plan zoning bylaw and for draft plan of subdivision to permit the development of a mixed-use community comprised of 13 residential towers ranging in height from 8 to 44 stories at a number of square footage, 897 square meters of institutional space, privately owned public space, and a natural heritage system feature. An associated buffer is also proposed. That is 0 Heritage Road, Ward 6. Anybody here in attendance that would like to hear a staff presentation on that item? Anybody in attendance? That item is adjourned. And the rest are planning applications. Okay, so now we'll go back to item 6.3, correct, Madam Clerk? Item 6.3, and we'll bring up David. David's going to come up for the city-initiated report public meeting to add a provision stating the window wells shall not encroach, which is city-initiated. David, take it away.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the public. Thanks. My name is David Vandenberg, and I'm a manager in the Development Services section. I will be presenting on a proposed city-initiated zoning bylaw amendment related to encroachments into the path of travel to entrances for additional residential units. Next slide, please. As background to this amendment, the zoning bylaw allows additional residential units, and just a note, I'll be abbreviating them as ARUs in the rest of my presentation, in single detached, semi-detached, and townhouse dwellings. The basement apartment would be one example of a type of ARU, but they are only allowed if certain criteria are met. One of the required criteria is that a 1.2 meter wide, approximately 4 foot, unobstructed pedestrian path of travel be provided to the principal entrance of the ARU. The zoning interpretation had previously been that a window well can encroach into this required path of travel, but only up to a maximum of 0.55 meters, which is just under 2 feet. Next slide, please. As some may be aware, Council approved a new comprehensive zoning bylaw on February 4th of this year. And the work for the new zoning bylaw included a review of this issue and whether window wells should be allowed to continue to encroach into the path of travel to an ARU entrance. And to maximize public safety and access, the outcome of that review was that they should no longer be permitted to encroach. So the new zoning bylaw adds a provision clearly stating that a window well may not encroach into the minimum unobstructed path of travel to the principal entrance of an ARU. Next slide, please. When Council adopted the new comprehensive zoning bylaw, there was also direction provided to hold a public meeting on adding the same provision for window wells to the existing zoning bylaw. And for reference, the full text of the proposed section there is on the screen with the addition highlighted at the end stating that a window well shall not encroach into the minimum unobstructed path of travel. The primary reason for making the change to the existing zoning bylaw is to ensure that the new rules for encroachments come into effect as soon as possible. A new zoning bylaw can be appealed to an Ontario Land Tribunal. It is normal that when cities are doing that for the whole city, that it does happen, and that has in fact happened to ours. So making the change to the existing zoning bylaw ensures the new rules are not delayed while the new zoning bylaw is at the Ontario Land Tribunal. The change also ensures that the new rules apply to the parts of the city not currently included in the zoning bylaw. Because work was still needed to advance the policy for several of them, there are several and full parts of major transit station areas not included in the new comprehensive bylaw. This change ensures that the new rules for encroachment also applies in these geographic areas. And this primarily affects a few neighborhoods in the downtown. Next slide, please. In addition to the specific change described previously, the city is also seeking input tonight on the following related matters to inform potential additional changes to the bylaw. The first two are related to encroachments into required yards, and one is should the restrictions for window well encroachments be expanded beyond restricting them in required paths of travel to ARU entrances to also include restrictions in other yards? And if so, should there also be new restrictions for encroachments for other types of structures? And the second is for related to paths of travel around a dwelling unit. And should the zoning provisions related to the paths of travel to the principal entrance of an ARU be broadened to improve access to ARUs and generally around dwellings? So we'll also be looking at these questions as part of a review and taking any input on these questions as part of tonight's meeting. And then the discussion and recommendations on those will be included in the recommendation report to be forwarded to Planning Committee in the future. Next slide, please. This slide identifies some of the key issues that will be considered as staff continues the work. First is public safety and the impact of any zoning changes on safety for residents. The second is the usability of homes and the impact of any new provisions or on encroachments on the ability of residents to use and improve their homes. And third is the increase or the effect of the new rules on housing supply and how they may affect housing supply, including provisions of ARUs. Next slide, please. This slide shows where we are in the process and identifies the next steps. So we are currently at the public meeting stage. We're collecting input from the community on the proposed changes. The next step will be for staff to prepare a report to Planning and Development Committee with a recommendation and final language for the changes to the zoning bylaw. And the input received tonight will be an important factor as we prepare that report. I would note that we will follow up with everyone who has provided comments or expressed interest in this matter on the timing of the recommendation report before it is brought forward so they know when it is coming. Next slide, please. As a final note, this presentation and report are available online, and the recommendation report related to the enactment will be posted on the city's Planning and Development Committee meeting agenda in advance of the future meeting. For any questions or comments, you can contact me, David Vandenberg, at the contact information shown on the screen. And thank you and have a good evening.
Thanks, David. Is there anybody that would like to come down and ask any questions about the item? Come on down. Anybody else like to come down? Please state your name for the record.
Clay McDermott, Ward 3 resident. Just with regards to the 1.2 meter setback, according to the Ontario Landlord Tenancy Act, snow and ice is also considered an obstruction. So is there a way to ensure that also, because typically what we're talking about here are ARUs, because it's been noted. So if it's meaning to be an ARU, we want to ensure that that path of travel is kept clean. And we've just gone through a winter and we've seen how that hasn't occurred. So if it's actually spelt out in the bylaws, then it provides some teeth to actually provide enforcement, please.
Okay, great question. We'll take it back. Does it right now speak to it? We'll take it back and consider it. Okay, so we'll take that back and consider it.
Okay, and can I get follow-up on that, please?
100%.
Thank you.
Thanks. Sorry, Catherine, you need to go and sign your name in the book. Come on up. Please state your name for the record.
My name is Tanveer Rai. The biggest point now is there won't be any window wells in the encroachment into the path of travel. Will they accept any kind of grading on top of the window well so they can walk on top of that window well?
So you can walk on top of the well.
Yeah, so that's pretty common in Toronto. If there is a window well, they'll have some kind of grating on top, so actually you can walk. That will not obstruct the path of travel.
Okay.
We can still have the windows, but at least that will pass. Because if that clause comes into effect, most of the houses are semi-detached in Brampton, they are all out of that range. Most of the new detached houses, they are all out of the range because the new designs, the way city has approved them, they're with 4 feet setback on one side and 2 feet setback on the other side. That disqualifies all of them. And on one side, city is working to legalize all the basement, and on the other side, they're closing that channel. So you're kind of putting everybody in the middle, like nobody would want to come to the channel anymore. So I don't think so that's the right way to go. Again, this is just my opinion. But if the grading comes in, at least you get away with the path of travel unobstructed, that works out. And you can still work with the zoning bylaw as well as the building code to meet the requirements of a accessory dwelling unit in the basement.
Okay, we'll take it back? Okay, and just behind you, if you can write your information there. Anybody else like to come down and ask a question? Come on down, and if there's anybody else, come on down. This is a big agenda, so we're gonna move things along. You're allowed your allotted time to speak, but I just wanna move things along.
So my name is Harman Brar. I'm a resident, and I'm actually building an ARU. I'm the one who actually I did my own permit. I did my own permit drawings. I made sure everything was per OBC, and I did all the drawings. And one of the questions there was that the egress window should not be in the path of travel. And I made sure the egress window was not in the path of travel. Unfortunately, the new houses that are being built, they barely give you 4 feet, 4.25 inch, 4.5 feet of space. So what I did was I actually built a retaining wall around my windows. And one of the points that this gentleman mentioned was around looking into access towards your backyard as well. I believe that was one of the points. So what I did was I built a retaining wall of stones. And basically my intention was to then cover that window well so that people can actually walk over it. So if the city comes with a new bylaw tomorrow, I'm able to kind of accommodate it. So my request to the city is look at options. Do not just give us problems, look at options to solve those problems. That's all.
Thanks a lot. Anybody else? Seeing none, Councillor Power will move receipt of the item 6.3. All in favor? That occurs. Along with the added delegations. Next is item 6.4, correct, or was that adjourned? Is held. Okay. And who do we have? Andrea? And it's the 8680 Chinguacousy Road, southwest corner of Chinguacousy Road and Bonnie Bray. Welcome, how are you? Good, good. Take it away.
Good evening, Chair and Vice Chair, members of committee, members of the public and city staff. My name is Andrea Zhang, and I am the planner assigned to process and review the subject application. The purpose of this public meeting is to provide information to the public and seek feedback on the application filed by GSAI on behalf of Delsco Construction, Inc. Next slide, please. The subject property is located in Ward 4 at 8680 Chinguacousy Road in the southwest part of Brampton. The nearest major intersection is Chinguacousy Road and Bonnie Braes Road. Next slide, please. The slide shows an overview of the site. Surrounding land uses include, to the north is Bonnie Braes Drive, beyond which is low-rise residential dwellings and park. To the south is low-rise residential dwellings. To the east is Chinguacousy Road, beyond which are institutional use, which is Burton Manor, and low-rise residential dwellings. To the west is Elm Crest Drive, beyond which is low-rise residential and floodplain containing natural heritage features. Next slide, please. The slide shows a further overview of the subject site and the surrounding uses and developments. Next slide, please. A site visit was conducted on February 6, 2026. Photos from the visit are shown on screen. Next slide, please. The subject site is originally zoned as Institutional 1 Special Section 2105 and Institutional 1 Special Section 2326 zone. Through City File OZS-2021-0044, a bylaw was passed on August 10, 2022 to rezone the site to residential apartment A1-Section 3646 to permit uses including stacked townhouses, back-to-back townhouses, back-to-back stacked townhouses, and accessory uses. Next slide, please. The development application is proposing to facilitate the development of a commercial plaza consisting of one single-story commercial building, one two-story mixed-use building, including commercial at grade, and office on the second floor, and at grade and one level of underground parking. Further details include net site area of 0.74 hectares, gross floor areas of 3,509.71 square meters, including office area around 1,245 square meters approximately, and retail commercial of 2,264 square meters approximately. With lot coverage of 33.44% and building height of 8.2 meters, landscape area of 18%, 75%, total parking provided of 144 spaces. Next slide, please. Prior to finalizing recommendations to Council, this application will be further evaluated against the documents shown on the slide. Next slide, please. The subject land is designated residential in the City of Brampton Official Plan 2006. The residential designation permits a predominantly residential land uses. Complementary uses in the commercial and institutional land uses are also permitted. To facilitate this development and requested uses, an amendment to the official plan is required. Next slide, please. In the new Brampton Plan 2023, the subject site is designated community areas on Schedule 1A and the neighborhoods on Schedule 2. Next slide, please. The subject lands are located within the Credit Valley Secondary Plan Area 45. They are designated as medium-high density residential, which permits a range of townhouse housing forms, including stacked townhouses and back-to-back townhouses. An amendment to the secondary plan is required to permit the requested uses. Next slide, please. The proposed official plan amendment will redesignate the subject site in Credit Valley Secondary Plan from medium-high density residential to special policy area mixed-use commercial. Next slide, please. The subject lands are zoned residential apartment 1A Section 3646. Permitted uses in the R4A-3646 zone include but are not limited to stacked townhouses, back-to-back townhouses, back-to-back stacked townhouses, and purposes accessory to the other permitted uses. A zoning bylaw amendment is required to permit the uses. Next slide, please. As such, the application is proposing to amend the zoning bylaw by rezoning the subject site from the current residential apartment 1A Section 3646 zone to residential apartment 1A zone with a new special section. The newly created zone will permit the uses in the commercial 1 zone, in addition to the existing permitted townhouse and residential uses. The zoning allows for a maximum gross floor area of 3,600 square meters and a maximum building height of 15 meters. The minimum parking requirements are 144 parking spaces, and a minimum of 40% of the site is required to be maintained as landscaped open space. The minimum setback to the lot line abutting Elm Crest Drive is 3.5 meters, and the minimum setback to the lot line abutting Proud Court is 2.4 meters. Next slide, please. At this time, key issues and considerations that will need to be addressed include ensuring traffic impacts on Elm Crest Drive, which is the local residential street, are mitigated, ensuring compatibility with the surrounding low-density residential neighborhood, ensuring adequacy of buffering and built form transition, ensuring privacy considerations related to parking and building massing, ensuring noise and lighting impacts on adjacent residential properties are considered and mitigated, ensuring sufficient parking supply, and avoiding potential neighborhood spillover. Next slide, please. Staff is hosting a statutory public meeting this evening to share information of the proposed official plan and zoning bylaw amendment on the subject side, and provide an opportunity for members of the public to express their opinions. The following steps will include reviewing the application and bring a final recommendation report for council decision in the future. Issues raised will be addressed in the recommendation report. Staff will follow up with members of the public and other stakeholders who have spoken, written in, or advised of an interest in monitoring this proposal. Next slide, please. For more information on the development proposal, the applicant submission materials, they are all publicly accessible through the city's Brand Plan online portal. Through Brand Plan online, members of the public can click the search for an application link, then type for the file number of the application in the required field, which in this case is OZS-2025-0051. This brings up the file page, while clicking the File Info tab will allow all drawings and documents associated with the development application to be viewed. Next slide, please. This public meeting presentation will be available online as part of the Planning and Development Committee meeting minutes. The final recommendation report will be posted on the city's PDC meeting agenda in advance of the future meeting. Once again, my name is Andrea Zhang, and my contact information is posted on the screen along with the contact information of the applicant, Patrick Pearson from GSAI, who is representing the landowner. For any questions or comments about this development application, please feel free to contact myself, my manager, or the applicant. This concludes my presentation. Thank you kindly, and have a great evening.
Thank you, Andrea. And we'll go to our first delegation, which is Sharvan Nagaraj. Sharvan, welcome.
Good evening. My name is Shravan. I live on Bonnie Braes. I want to begin thanking city staff and the council for their dedication to long-term planning and community livability. We truly appreciate the chance to share our perspective. First of all, we want to formally, oppose the planned development amendment here. The proposed development is not compatible with the low-density residential character of our neighborhood. The commercial use brings noise, bright lighting, delivery activity, and loss of privacy. Parking overflow is also a serious concern with the risk of blocked driveways and crowded residential streets. There are fairly lot of accidents that are happening within the Elm Street as well as the Bonnie Braes. It's a very common thing on a morning. These changes would negatively impact property values as well and overall the quality of life as it is. So we respectfully ask the city to preserve residential compatible land use and reconsider the zoning amendment. I also have a couple of community neighborhood friends who have joined me here, and they will raise their own concerns as we move. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much for your delegation. Anybody else like to come down and say a few words? And if there's anybody else, they can come down. Please go ahead. Please state your name for the record.
Yeah, my name is Dinesh Udaiwal, and I live on Bonnie Braes Drive. First, I would like to thank you, city staff and council, for the time and effort you put into reviewing community input and managing growth responsibly. We appreciate the opportunity to speak and to be heard. Our primary concern is traffic and road safety on Bonnie Braes Drive. already experiencing congestion and near miss incidents on a daily basis, especially during peak hours. The proposed commercial development would significantly increase vehicle traffic, delivery trucks, and short-term stopping. This raises real safety concern for families, children, seniors, and residents exiting their driveways. The road infrastructure was designed for residential use, not commercial activity. We respectfully ask the city to reconsider this proposal or require a comprehensive traffic and safety study before moving forward. Now I welcome my colleague, Rajveer.
Thank you very much. And just go to the back and sign in. If there's anybody else that'd like to come down, please do so. Please state your name for the record.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Rajveer Kaur Johal, and I live in 170 Bonnie Braes Drive. Thank you, administration and council, for your continued engagement with our neighborhood and for maintaining open public dialogue. We value the city commitment to balanced and safe development. Our concern relate to the public safety and security. A commercial plaza introduce continuous uncontrolled foot traffic into a quiet residential area. This increases the risk of loitering and vandalism and after hours activities. Residents are also concerned about enforcement challenges and unauthorized business operation. These risks directly affect our sense of safety and well-being in our homes. We respectfully request the council prioritize residential safety and reconsider land uses that better align with the character of our community. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for your delegation. Nobody else? Okay, thank you. The report and delegations will be received by, I think Councillor Keenan's on. All in favor? That carries. Next item, 6.5. Is that correct, Madam Clerk? Yes. 6.5, we have presentation by Raj. I didn't remind everybody, but can I remind everybody just to have your cell phones on inaudible? Just make sure that they're silent. A lot of people are coming up and speaking for the first time. We want as minimum distractions as possible. Please, Raj. Thanks.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the committee, members of the public, and city staff. My name is Raj Lamisane, and I am the planner assigned to process and review the subject application with the city file number OZS-2025-0052. The purpose of this presentation is to provide information to the public and seek feedback on the application filed by CANF Group to permit a diverse mix of employment users on the subject lands. Next slide, please. The subject lands are located in Ward 6 and municipally known as 1876 and 1990 Holliston Road. The site is located to the north and south of Holliston Road, along east of Mississauga Road. Next slide, please. This slide shows an overview of the site. The surrounding land uses are described as the following. To the north is a mixed office and employment development, which is currently under construction, beyond which is Natural Heritage System and Stills Avenue West. To the south is the Highway 47, beyond which is the city of Mississauga. To the east are Levis Creek, associated natural heritage features, single detached dwellings, and MDA space. To the west are Churchill Business Community, including Loblaws and Air Canada Operations Center. Next slide, please. This slide presents an aerial overview of the subject lands and the surrounding area. The subject property is currently occupied by the Streetsville Glen Golf Club. A gas service station is also located at the northeast corner of Mississauga Road and Holliston Road. Next slide, please. Planning staff conducted a site visit of the subject lands on February 28, 2026. The photographs displayed on the screen are views of the subject lands captured during the site visit. Next slide, please. The applicant is seeking to amend the officer plan and zoning bylaw to facilitate a mix of employment-related land uses on the subject lands, including manufacturing, warehousing, research and development, data storage, self-storage, medical laboratory, and accessory outside storage. The proposed industrial GFA is approximately 85,000 square meter or roughly 913,000 square feet. 1,041 vehicular parking spaces and 180 loading spaces are also provided, and approximately 14.6 hectares of natural heritage system are protected. Next slide, please. Prior to finalizing a recommendation report to Council, this application will be further evaluated for compliance with the Planning Act, consistency with the Provincial Planning Statement 2024, and conformity to the City of Brampton Officer Plan 2006, Brampton Plan 2023, Bram West Secondary Plan, and principles of Brampton 24 Division. Next slide, please. Current planning context, Official Plan 2006. The subject lands are designated employment and open space in Schedule 1 and office and open space in Schedule A of the Brampton Official Plan 2006. The permitted uses within the office designated lands include office, research and development, accessory retail and service commercial uses, limited high performance prestige industrial uses, and other supportive and complementary employment uses. An amendment to the official plan is not required since the relevant Mississauga Road Corridor Special Study Area policies in Brampton Plan are in effect. Next slide, please. The subject lands are designated employment and natural heritage system in Schedule 2 of Brampton Plan 2023 and are located within the Mississauga Road Corridor Bram West Special Study Area. Office, research and development, prestige industrial uses, advanced manufacturing, and other supportive and complementary employment uses are permitted on the subject lands. Whereas warehousing, logistics, heavy manufacturing, and outside storage are currently not permitted on the subject lands. As such, an amendment to the Brampton Plan is required. Next slide, please. The subject lands are located within the Bram West Secondary Plan area and are designated office center, highway and service commercial, and valley lands. The permitted uses on the subject lands include offices, research and development facilities, ancillary light manufacturing uses, hotels, conference, convention center, and limited accessory retail and business support services. Warehousing and distribution uses are not permitted. As such, an amendment to the secondary plan is required to permit the proposed development. Next slide, please. The applicant is proposing an officer plan and secondary plan amendment with site-specific policies that include removal of prohibition to warehousing, logistics, food processing, packaging, heavy manufacturing, and outdoor storage uses from the Mississauga Road Corridor Special Study Area policies in Brampton Plan. Redesignation of office center and highway service center, highway service commercial lands to prestige industrial in the secondary plan, and permissions for additional uses such as data storage, self-storage, and medical laboratory facilities. Next slide, please. The subject lands are zoned recreation commercial section 2620, highway commercial 2 section 2831, and floodplain. Permitted uses in recreation commercial zone include golf course, driving range, skating rink, racket or handball court, animal hospital, and accessory uses. Permitted uses in highway commercial 2 zone include a gas bar, a motor vehicle washing establishment, and accessory uses. An amendment to the zoning bylaw is required to permit the proposed development. Next slide, please. The proposed zoning bylaw amendment will rezone the subject lands to Industrial 1 and floodplain zones to facilitate the proposed development with site-specific requirements related to lot size, yard, building height, and landscaping, as shown on the screen. Next slide, please. At this time, the key issues and considerations related to the development proposal are as follows. Conformity of the proposed employment uses with the city's vision for the Mississauga Road Corridor Office Center and quantum of prestige and complementary employment uses to secure an appropriate office GFA. Accommodation of appropriate build form, site circulation, building orientation, landscaping, and gateway treatment. Protection of natural features and considerations to an appropriate transition and minimizing noise and visual impacts on the adjacent dwellings to the east. And establishing a shared access with the adjoining property to the north to create a four-legged intersection at Mississauga Road and Edgeware Road. Next slide, please. The next steps in this application are, this application was deemed complete on January 19, 2026. Staff will continue to review the application, including addressing comments from the public and technical staff, and will advance a final recommendation report to Council for a decision. Issues raised will be addressed in the recommendation report. City staff will also contact and follow up with those residents who have spoken, retained in, or advised of an interest in monitoring this application. Next slide, please. This development application can be accessed by the public through the city's BRAMPlan online portal. Through BRAMPlan Online, members of the public can click the search for an application link, then type the file number OZS-2025-0052 in the required field. This brings up the file page where clicking the file info tab will allow all drawings and documents to be viewed. Next slide, please. This public meeting presentation will be available online shortly. For any questions or comments about this application, please contact myself, my manager, or the applicant. Once again, my name is Raj Lamisani, and my contact information is posted on the screen along with the applicant's contact information. Next slide, please. Thank you very much and have a wonderful evening.
Thanks, Raj. Great job. I'd like to, we had a delegation on this. Sorry, I just moved we have two delegations, I think, MDA. Mike and Melissa, are you there? Sorry, did you say Melissa? Yes. Mike or Melissa? I think, oh, hi, welcome.
Good evening. My name is Melissa Cass. I'm the Senior Director of Business Transformation at MDA Space, and I have a statement that I'd like to read. Thank you very much. We do have concerns about the possible rezoning changes. MDA Space is a global space technology company whose headquarters, our global headquarters, is in this area. We are the world leading in commercial satellites, in Earth observations, and space exploration and infrastructure. Our team spans the globe. We call Brampton our global home. We are proud to work with commercial and government partners worldwide, including the Government of Canada, the Canadian Space Agency, NASA, European Space Agency, to do amazing things like take the humans to the moon and beyond. We're proud that we have called Brampton our home for 30 years. Our people have grown up here, our technology has grown up here, and we'll continue to do that. For years, we have been looking for the next site of our global headquarters. In talking with Brampton, we agreed to land on the Streetsville Glen neighborhood, mostly because of its high prestige corporate R&D zoning. We were looking for a place that we could call home with high-tech, prestigious, corporate, like-minded folks, and we have found that in this sector. This corridor has become the showcase of companies in the forefront of technology, health space, aerospace, transformation, and other sectors, truly world leaders in these areas, like Air Canada, Canon, and Loblaws. It's also become a focal point for a lot of high-profile dignitaries and visitors to the area because they come and visit these world-leading innovators in Brampton. The collective brand that we have built in this area sends a powerful signal to the city, the province, and the global market that Brampton is an optimal destination for high-value corporate activity, investment, and innovation. When we entered into our lease, the City of Brampton pledged to protect this zone for prestigious offices, corporate headquarters, and research and development. The most recent rezoning proposal, however, allows for the potential of heavy industrial warehousing that threatens that original zoning. So we have been through this before. We're extra sensitive to this because in our last location in Spar Drive, it was overcome with heavy industrial transportation and distribution. So our move to this area was very strategic because this is our global headquarters for a very fast, the world's leading aerospace company right now, is fast growing. So we are worried that this change will undermine the global headquartering brand that we've built in that area, making it less attractive for high-profile clients, dignitaries, and government officials to visit the area. The increased truck traffic, congestion, noise, and infrastructure could negatively impact our ability to attract high-profile talent for this very unique technology company that we run, as well as the dignitaries that visit us. We believe that proposing the rezoning is a conflict to the long-stated strategy of this area to foster innovation-led growth and attracting premium investments by mixing this prestigious business zone with the logistics areas. So thank you to your attention for this critical issue. We look forward to a collaborative solution that both preserves Brampton's reputation as a premier destination for world-class businesses and allows us to continue to showcase Canada on this global scale. Thank you.
Thanks, Melissa. We're also proud to have you here in Brampton, and I'm sure that staff will be working side by side with you to come back with providing them with all the information, and then that'll come back for a planning decision. Thank you, Melissa. Anybody else that'd like to come and delegate on this item? Yes, please.
Good evening, everyone. I'm a resident of this zone where 76 and 1990. I live on Legendary Circle, and while I recognize the need for the growth and housing in the city of Brampton, I have serious concerns regarding the scale, environmental impact, and infrastructure implications of this proposal. Compatibility with the existing neighborhood character. We have a school, we have a lot of residences around, and the proposed density and build form do not appear to align with the existing character of the surrounding residential community. This raises concerns about appropriate transition, overdevelopment, and long-term neighborhood stability, traffic and infrastructure capacity. The surrounding road network, including Hallstone Road, is already experiencing increased congestion. Additional high-density development with future strained traffic flow, reduce safety, and impact daily commuting of residents, specifically because there's also a school there. Increased stormwater runoff and flooding risks. Over the past few years, with the addition of new commercial developments in the area, residents have already observed noticeable changes in the nearby stormwater pond, including expansion and rising of water levels closer to the residential properties. From a planning and engineering perspective, this is a serious concern. Urban development increases hard surfaces such as road, rooftops, and parking lots, which significantly reduces natural water absorption and increases the stormwater runoff. Municipal guidance confirms that without adequate capacity, excess runoff can lead to flooding of streets and homes. Additionally, when stormwater systems become overwhelmed during heavy rainfall events, water can accumulate on properties and even lead to basement flooding through surface water intrusions or sewer backup. So residents are requesting to kindly reconsider this development, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. And so just to let you know, it's not a reconsideration or anything. Anybody is allowed to bring something forward, and this is that process. And the public, and I know there's a number of people from the community that is online and here today. Again, this is anybody's provided with an opportunity to come before us to put any application forward. It's just for the public. Staff are gonna ask for a ton of information. They're gonna write a report. That report's gonna come back to planning, where you will be given another opportunity to see it, to speak to it if you so wish. And then council will, or planning will debate that item. So just to let you know that this is the ongoing, this is the process for that. Is anybody else like to come down and delegate on this item? Now is a perfect opportunity that if you're here for the item, you want to say something, now is the time to come down and say it. If not, there's a number of correspondence, and you can send correspondence to Raj. His information was there. If you don't have it, grab him after. I'll give you his home cell phone, or if you want it, call him, talk to him. He's a great guy. And if anybody has any other questions, please feel free to the area councilors too. Also fantastic individuals, Councilor Breyer and myself. With that, nobody else, Councilor Breyer is happy to receive the item along with the correspondence and delegations. All in favor? That carries. Our next item is 6.6. This is the application to amend the zoning bylaw draft plan of subdivision Blackthorn Development Corp. Amarjeet Singh Shahi, to permit the creation of one residential block consisting of 6 semi-detached homes for 12 residential units, one environmental protection block, access to provided from Truro Circle through a proposed private lane. We have Marina. Marina is here. Go ahead, Marina.
Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, members of the public, and city staff colleagues. My name is Marina Shafak, and I am the planner assigned to this file, OZS-2025-0047. The purpose of this public meeting is to provide information to the public and seek feedback about the application filed by Blackthorn Development Corp. on behalf of Amarjeet Singh Shahi to amend the zoning bylaw and for a draft plan of subdivision. Next slide, please. The subject lands are located in Ward 6 at 1285 Mayfield Road. The subject site is located south of this road. Next slide, please. This slide provides information regarding the surrounding land uses. To the north, there is Malala Yousafzai Public School and agricultural lands in the town of Caledon, north of Mayfield Road. To the south is open space and natural features and existing low-density residential. To the east is existing low-density residential. To the west is existing low-density residential, beyond which are open space and natural features and other existing residential uses. Next slide, please. This is an aerial view of the subject property and the surrounding area. Next slide, please. This slide displays photos from a site visit conducted towards west and east of the property. Next slide, please. These photos are towards the north and south of the property. Next slide, please. The development application was submitted to propose a zoning bylaw amendment and for a draft plan of subdivision to facilitate the creation of one residential block consisting of 6 semi-detached homes for 12 residential units and one environmental protection block. Access is proposed to be provided from Truro Circle through a proposed private lane. With regards to the buildings, the semi-detached dwellings are 3 stories. Half of the units are dual frontage and the rest is conventional design. 10 units will have a gross floor area of 210 square meters, and 2 units will be 170 square meters. There is a sidewalk proposed along the private lane. Next slide, please. Prior to finalizing a recommendation to council, the application will be further evaluated against the documents shown on this slide. Next slide, please. The official plan 2006 designates the subject property as residential as per Schedule 8 General Land Use Designations. Residential designation permits a full range of dwelling types from single detached houses to high-rise apartments. Therefore, an amendment to the official plan 2006 is not required. Next slide, please. In the Brampton Plan 2023, the subject site is designated as community areas within Schedule 1A and neighborhoods within Schedule 2. Both designations permit residential. Therefore, an amendment is not required. Next slide, please. The subject property is designated as low and medium density residential within the Mount Pleasant Second Plan Area 51. Permitted uses in this designation include single detached and semi-detached homes to land-based townhouses, among other uses. Therefore, an amendment to the second plan is also not required. Next slide, please. The subject site is mainly zoned agriculture. Small portions of the lands are zoned residential single detached R1F zone. Permitted uses in agricultural zone generally include agricultural purposes uses, a single detached dwelling, an animal hospital, and a kennel. Permitted use in R1F zone generally includes a single detached dwelling. Therefore, an amendment to zoning bylaw is required. Next slide, please. The applicant plans to amend the zoning bylaw to rezone the subject site from agricultural and residential single detached R1F zone to residential semi-detached 2C zone in Block 1 and open space zone in Block 2. A bylaw amendment application has been provided for the city's review. A summary of the proposed regulations has been included on this slide. Next slide, please. Planning has noted some considerations and issues in relation to the development application. That includes appropriateness of the proposed build form, scale, massing, and architectural design, proposed density and housing mix, environmental protection and buffer requirements, servicing and infrastructure capacity, appropriateness of the proposed access strategy, traffic impacts on Truro Circle. Next slide, please. Staff are holding a statutory public meeting to share information regarding this application and giving the public the opportunity to share their opinions. The following steps will include reviewing the files and bringing a recommendation report for the council. Staff will follow up with residents who have spoken and commented as it moves forward. Next slide, please. Development applications can be accessed by members of the public through Bramplan Online. Community members can click the search for an application and then type in the file number OZS-2025-0047. On the file page, please click the File Info tab to gain access to the drawings and studies. The final recommendation report will be posted on the PDC meeting website before the meeting. Next slide, please. The presentation will be made available to you shortly after this meeting. If you have any questions, please contact me, Marina, or the applicant, Maurizio Rogato. Next slide, please. That concludes my presentation. Thank you all and have a good evening.
Great job. Thank you, Marina. We're going to go to our delegations. We have 6 listed. Our first delegation, Narav Dave, or Dave Narav. Come on down. After that, we have Hardel Brar, Kuwinder Chinna. Then Harman Brar, Samarpete Jabra, and then Terragil is an audio delegation. Okay. Narav? Come. Welcome, you have 5 minutes, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Nirav Dave, and I live right ravine backing home immediately besides the proposed construction. Many homes along Truro Circle back onto the ravine, and homeowners paid significant premiums and thousands of dollars for quiet setting, natural views, and privacy this landscape provides. My home is right beside the proposed neighborhood, and I paid $80,000 for the peace and quiet of nature. I know my neighbors also paid similar amounts, so we're disheartened to think that someone would rip apart our peace and serenity to make profit. Constructing new homes here would undermine those expectations and erode the peaceful, nature-oriented environment that's specifically invested in when purchasing the properties. Further, development means less green space and nature landscaping. Green space plays an essential role in maintaining neighborhood livability and provides environmental benefits such as improved air quality, stormwater absorption, and urban heat reduction. Neighborhoods rely on trees, vegetation, and open space to support healthy and balanced environment for residents. Further reducing available green space in favor of dense construction would diminish the nature character of the area and limit the opportunities for us to enjoy nearby greenery and nature. That was point number 1, and I'll pass it on to my colleagues.
Thank you very much. Please come. Hardell? Hardell's next. Where'd he go? Just kidding. Is Hardell online? We don't see him? Okay.
Good evening,
Thanks.
council members. My name
Kulwinder,
is
thank you very
Kulwinder
much.
Singh Chena.
You have 5 minutes. Please begin.
No, 1 minute is okay.
Okay.
Good evening, council members. My name is Kulwinder Singh Chena, and today I'm here to speak on behalf of Mount Pleasant neighborhood residents who are concerned about the proposed project in our enclosed family neighborhood. Truro Circle is a small, quiet street meant for local traffic and families. This proposal for 12 semi-detached homes, along with possible basement units, would bring too much density and does not fit the character of our neighborhood. It would put pressure on our infrastructure, including roads, drainage, schools, and parks, and increase traffic in an area where children often play. The City of Brampton official plan says new development should match the neighborhood and be supported by the infrastructure. This proposal does not meet those expectations. Therefore, we strongly urge Council to reject this proposal in its current form. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Harmon Bra? And Samar Preet's next. Welcome, Harmon.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the committee. My name is Harmon. I'm a resident of Truro Circle. Before I start, I actually want to thank Marina. She did a wonderful job with pointing out those 5 points that I was going to talk about today. I was going to go a little bit more into detail. My primary concern is the proposed private lane access by Truro Circle. The plan proposes to funnel traffic from 12 high-density units onto a quiet residential circle that currently only has 2 to 3 available parking spots. With no viable visitor or overflow parking in the site plan, this will create immediate gridlock and block fire routes that are already being blocked. I strongly urge the committee to restrict all primary vehicle access to Mayfield Road. Truro Circle cannot absorb any more traffic, and the parking demands of this intensification without creating severe safety hazards for emergency vehicles. My second point is around road width, snow removal, and safety. The proposed internal road is far too narrow to support safe two-way traffic, proper winter maintenance, Currently, snowplows only perform a single pass on Truro Circle, often leaving the street narrow and difficult to navigate. Introducing 12 additional housing units via common element lane will exacerbate this. Private snow will likely be pushed onto the public circle, further obstructing our limited parking and marking the street impossible during peak winter months. If the proposed road cannot accommodate dedicated snow storage and safe clearance, this density is simply too high for the site. Green space and backyard, that's my next point. The requested floor space index of 0.09 is nearly double the typical density of this neighborhood. This leaves almost no room for permeable soft landscaping or functional backyards. I'm requesting the city require the builder to provide green space and backyard depths that are comparable to the existing detached homes in our row. We're trading a functional mature canopy for decorative plants that will never reach their full maturity, and they will have insufficient soil volume to ever reach that maturity. This is not an equivalent trade and represents a net loss of our environmental targets. Moving on. Furthermore, this proposal directly conflicts with ongoing community improvements. Around 5 of us have some sort of request with city's forestry department to plant additional trees because there's a significant amount of city space that does not have a lot of coverage. One of the requests is COBI-3869009. I'm requesting that the Environmental Services and City Forestry be directed to proceed with these plantings in the current open space rather than allowing the developer to break into the circle at this specific location. We should be expanding our canopy on public land and not destroying established healthy trees to make way for an oversized private lane. In closing, the application must be revised to address its technical failures, including the current lack of any accessible parking spaces. I request a reduction to a maximum FSI of 0.065 and a height restriction of 9.5 meters. Most importantly, please protect the character and safety of our street by moving the access to Mayfield Road and supporting our local reforestation efforts. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for your delegation. Next is Samarpreet. Welcome, sir. You have 5 minutes.
Good evening, Chair and members of Council. My name is Samarpreet Chabra, and I reside in Truro Circle. I would like to read my concerns now. The development proposes access to Truro Circle, a small residential street that is not designed to accommodate the traffic generated by a dense subdivision. The addition of multiple homes will inevitably increase vehicle traffic, creating congestion and raising safety concerns for residents, particularly children and families living in the area. Most residents are young families with small children who regularly play outside and in the quiet corner of Truro Circle, exactly where the increased traffic and new development is proposed. As a parent of 2 young children, I already take extra precautions to ensure my children's safety. When they play outside, I put up yellow caution signs to alert drivers and slow down traffic in our neighborhood. Even with the current level of traffic, this is necessary. With a significant increase in vehicles, I am deeply concerned that these measures will no longer be enough, and the risk to our children will increase substantially. Construction of the subdivision is also expected to cause prolonged disruption through heavy truck traffic, dust, noise, and road obstructions, negatively affecting the quality of life for nearby residents. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your delegation. Next was Tara Gill, who there was an audio recording, I believe.
Hi, my name is Tara Gill of Brampton. My objection is in regards to City File OZS 2025-0047. Truro Circle already has too many people parking on both sides of the street. The majority of homes have basement suites that are being rented out to occupants with multiple vehicles. Due to the lack of parking space, people are parking on both sides of the street at all times throughout the day and night. Despite our concerns to the city, parking enforcement does not rectify the issue, despite multiple complaints to the city. If the zoning is approved, it will amplify the ongoing parking issue, as in likelihood the future homeowners will
be making basement suites as well. This will heavily increase the ongoing parking issue we are being subjected to on a daily basis. My other concern is that the street traffic will significantly increase as drivers neglect to respect the speed limit as it is. For example, a child has already been hit by a vehicle, which should not ever happen in any community. In reality, people drive too fast down the street, and with kids darting out between parked cars, it has already led to too many close calls, which is extremely concerning. In closing, it is a bad idea in having the proposed driveway off Truro Circle. It is appropriate if the existing driveway is off Mayfield Road if the development is approved. Thank you for hearing me out.
Okay, thanks for the delegations. Anybody else want to come down and say a quick word, ask any questions? Now's the time, if you'd like to come down. Seeing none. Happy to move receipt of the application and the delegations and also the correspondence, and again to residents. The residents that are listed as delegations, you will automatically get correspondence, emails, letting you know when it'll be coming back. If you have any questions, please submit them to Marina. If you would like any information back, also do that as well. You also have two really good counselors for your area, so Councillor Barr and myself are happy to communicate with anything coming forward. With that, it's been moved. All in favor? That carries. The kids are going home now, or yes? Okay. There's a few people that are leaving. I'll give a couple minutes to let them leave quietly before we get into our next item. Okay, next item is 6.7 from Ken Defcon Group, Brampton New Life Community Church. Michelle is, hello Michelle, come on up and take it away.
Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, members of committee, members of the public, and my city colleagues. My name is Michelle Hoy, and I'm the planner assigned to process and review the subject application. The purpose of this public meeting is to provide information to the public and seek feedback on the application filed by CanDevCon Group on behalf of Brampton New Life Community Church. Next slide, please. The subject property is located in Ward 8 and is legally described as 9281 Goreway Drive. The site is located east of Goreway Drive and north of Queen Street East. Next slide, please. This map shows an overview of the subject site within the property and the surrounding land uses. To the north is a place of worship, which is New Life Community Church, and beyond which is a convenience store and mid-rise residential uses. To the south is a 3-story long-term care home. To the east is a stormwater management pond, and beyond which are mid-rise residential apartments. And to the west is Goreway Drive and commercial plazas. Next slide, please. The subject property is currently vacant, with some portions of the land currently being used for parking and the adjacent institutional uses. Next slide, please. A site visit was conducted on February 11th, 2026, and the above photos represent the current site conditions. As you can see, there's viewpoints from Goreway Drive and looking into the subject property. Next slide, please. Here are just a few more photos from the site visit representing the current conditions. Next slide, please. Thank you. The proposed official plan and zoning bylaw amendment is to facilitate a high-density mixed-use development consisting of 4 towers ranging from 16 to 20 stories. The proposed development includes 649 residential apartment units, with 65 being affordable, and ground floor office and commercial uses. There's 1 level of underground parking proposed with a total of 442 parking spaces. The net site area is just roughly under 0.8 hectares, and the floor space index is 6.32. Additionally, there is a proposed commercial and amenities on site. The proposed primary access is via an existing internal street from Gorway Drive and the secondary access connection through the adjacent property to the south. Next slide, please. This slide just reflects some of the architectural renderings for the proposed development. Next slide, please. This slide reflects the building elevation for the proposed development. Next slide, please. Prior to finalizing recommendations and advancing the associated final report to council, this development application will be further evaluated against the document shown on this slide. Next slide, please. The subject lands are designated residential and open space in the City of Brampton's official plan, which permits a full range of residential types, from single detached homes to high-rise apartments. It also includes complementary uses in which commercial and institutional lands are permitted. An amendment to the official plan is required to facilitate the development. Next slide, please. On June 6, 2024, the Brampton Plan came into effect for those policies and sections under appeal. The subject site is designated community areas in the city structure and neighborhoods in the designations. Please note that, that Schedule 2 of the Brampton Plan is currently under appeal. Next slide, please. As stated earlier, the subject lands are designated residential and open space within Schedule A of 2006 Brampton Official Plan, and the applicant is proposing to redesignate the subject lands from open space to facilitate the proposed high-rise mixed-use development. Next slide, please. The subject lands are designated as institutional in the Gorway Drive Corridor Secondary Plan. This designation permits the following uses. Examples include religious institutions, youth centers, conference centers, schools, and accessory purposes. An amendment to the secondary plan is required. Next slide, please. As stated earlier, the subject lands are within the Gorway Drive Secondary Plan, and the current institutional land use designation does not permit mixed-use development and has a maximum building height of 3 stories. An amendment to the secondary plan is proposed to redesignate the subject lands from institutional to Special Policy Area X. The Special Policy Area shall be developed for the high-density mixed-use development and for the commercial uses. An amendment to the secondary plan is required to facilitate the mixed-use development and increase the density. Next slide, please. The subject lands are zoned Institutional 1, Special Section 1589. Land use permissions include institutional uses such as schools, place of worships, or day nursery. Some non-institutional uses include parks and playgrounds and supportive housing types. An amendment to the zoning bylaw is required to facilitate the proposed development with the subject's specific site requirements. Next slide, please. The applicant proposes to amend the zoning bylaw from the current institutional section 1589 designation to residential apartment A with special section. The amendment to the zoning bylaw also proposes site-specific requirements as mentioned in the slide to allow for the proposed building design on the subject lands. Next slide, please. This slide shows a rendering of the proposal, and at this time, city staff have identified the following preliminary issues and considerations with respect to the proposed development. The first one being compatibility of the proposed development with the host neighborhood, including but not limited to the built form, massing, scale, tower separation distances, and potential wind and shadow impacts. Another being the alignment with the Brampton Plan's designations, as well as the vision of the neighborhood. Another key issue is the increased vehicular traffic on Goreway Drive, and the last being the appropriate provision of a mix of housing. Next slide, please. Staff are hosting a statutory public meeting this evening to share information of the proposed amendment to the official plan and zoning bylaw on the subject site and provide an opportunity for members of the public to share their opinions. The following steps will include reviewing the files and bringing a recommendation report to council. Staff will also follow up with members of the public and other stakeholders who have spoken, written in, or advised of interest in monitoring this proposal. Next slide, please. For more information on the development proposal, the applicant's submission materials are available publicly online through the City Brampton's portal. Please just type in the file number and the application field, which is in this case OZS 2025-0050. Next slide, please. This public meeting presentation will be available online as part of the Planning and Development Committee meeting minutes. The final recommendation report will be posted on the city's PDC meeting agenda in advance of a future meeting. And for any questions or comments about this development application, please contact myself, my manager, or the applicant, Maria Jones from Candev Con Group, who is representing the owner of Brampton New Life Community Church. The corresponding contact information is shown on the screen. This concludes my presentation, and thank you and have a good night.
Thank you, and we have one online delegation by Andre.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, members of council, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Andre Violante, and I'm a resident of Ward 8 of this proposed development. I'm here to speak in opposition to the proposed development or amendment at 9281 Goreway Drive. I want to focus on one core issue in addition to the important ones that have already been presented by the planner and in the correspondences for this item, which included environmental concerns with the conservation area there and the character of this area, increased traffic for an already busy road, compatibility with height of the buildings compared to the lower density mid-rises that are there currently, among many others. But what I want to take the time this evening and bring attention to are two unaddressed specifics. The first is the proposed conversion of institutional land and what's been stated. This site is currently designated for institutional use, as has been just recently stated by Michelle, under the official plan. That designation exists for a reason. Institutional lands are not interchangeable with other land uses. They are a limited and essential resource that support, as we saw, schools, community services, and in some cases, healthcare facilities, and other long-term public needs. In practice, once institutional land is converted, it is very difficult to replace within established communities such as ours here. Planning policy requires that the conversion of institutional land be supported by clear justification, and that standard has not been demonstrated in the materials that have been provided, or at least that are publicly available. In this case, there has been no clear demonstration, at least in my opinion, that this land is no longer needed for institutional purposes, nor that this area has surplus institutional capacity to suddenly cut some out. In fact, the opposite is more likely true. This corridor is growing and has been growing in recent years, with recent residential developments contributing to an increasing population in the area. And as that growth continues, demand for institutional services will increase, not decrease. Approving this conversion would be premature and not aligned with the long-term needs of this community. My second concern is precedent. If this application is approved, it sets a clear precedent that institutional lands can be converted to high-density residential uses without a demonstrated need or justification. Over time, that erodes land that was set aside for essential public services and introduces uncertainty into future planning decisions. Planning works best when it's consistent and predictable, and I don't feel that that's been addressed here. This proposal has been described as an opportunity for intensification, for homes, for housing. However, appropriate intensification still needs to align with established land use designations and, more importantly, long-term planning objectives. Similarly, good planning is not simply about delivering development and building homes in high-density areas in this case, but about ensuring that development occurs in the right location and it's supported by clear and complete justification. To be clear, I'm not arguing against development in this ward or in Brampton in general. It's an argument for the right development in the right place, aligned with the city's own planning framework. At this time, I don't believe that those standards have been met. Given the long-term implications of converting institutional land, I would also encourage that sufficient time and opportunity be provided for meaningful community input before any final decision is made besides just this one occurrence. I would respectfully ask that council not approve the amendment at this time, as the application has not met the threshold required to justify the permanent conversion of this institutional land, and that a more comprehensive and clearly demonstrated needs analysis be completed before any redesignation is considered. Thank you so much for your time and consideration to this matter.
Thank you very much for your delegation. Is there anybody else that would like to come down and delegate on this item? Seeing none. Councilor Power, you move receipt of the item and the delegation and correspondence. All in favor? That carries. 6.9 is the application to amend the official plan and zoning bylaw, 3288 Countryside Drive. Ryan's coming down to provide the staff presentation. We have one delegation. Or Ellis is coming down. Sorry, Ellis. Welcome. Take it away.
Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, members of the public, and city staff colleagues. My name is Alice Lewis, and I am a planner tasked with reviewing and processing application number OZS 2025-0037. The purpose of this public meeting is to provide information to the public and seek feedback about the application that was filed by G4's Urban Planners and Consultants on behalf of Sukhjinder S. Segna. Next slide, please. The subject property is located in Ward 10 at 3288 Countryside Drive. The subject site is located on the north side of Countryside Drive, west of Goreway Drive. Next slide, please. This slide provides information regarding the surrounding land uses. To the north is a stormwater management pond, Mount Royal Park, and existing institutional uses. To the south is existing single detached houses along Countryside Drive. To the west is existing single detached houses and open space. Further west is a commercial plaza located at Countryside Drive and Airport Road. To the east is existing single detached houses, stormwater management ponds, and open space. Further east is a commercial plaza located at Countryside Drive and Goreway Drive. Next slide, please. This slide provides information regarding the subject land at a broader scale, displaying additional surrounding uses and development. Next slide, please. A site visit was conducted on Tuesday, February 17th, and you can see various attributes on this slide. Next slide, please. The development application was submitted to propose an official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment that would facilitate the construction of a two-story commercial plaza, which will contain 14 retail units on the first floor, while the second floor will contain 4 small office units located near the intersection of Landscape Drive and Countryside Drive. Some further details surrounding this application include a lot area of 7,047 square meters, building lot coverage of just over 2,000 square meters, total gross floor area of 2,396 square meters, a building height of 2 stories, minimum front yard setback of 3 meters, lot depth of 110 meters, lot width of 66 meters. And in regard to the parking supply, there will be 113 vehicular surface parking spaces, 4 of which will be accessible, and 2 loading spaces. Next slide, please. Prior to finalizing a recommendation to council, the application will be further evaluated against the documents shown on this slide. Next slide, please. The official plan designates the subject property as residential as per Schedule A, General Land Use Designations. The residential designation permits a full range of dwelling types, complementary uses, institutional uses, and public use designations. An amendment to the official plan will not be required to facilitate this development. Next slide, please. The subject site is designated neighborhood within Schedule 2 designations of the Brampton Plan. An amendment to the Brampton Plan will not be required to facilitate the proposed development. Next slide, please. The subject property is designated executive residential within the Vales of Castlemore Secondary Plan. Residential uses associated with this designation include single detached housing types that utilize locational and natural attributes of the area. And an amendment to the secondary plan is required to permit the proposed development. Next slide, please. The subject site is zoned residential rural estate 2. Permitted uses in the residential rural estate 2 zone include, but are not limited to, single detached dwellings, supportive housing residence type 1, and purposes accessory to other permitted uses. A zoning bylaw amendment is required to facilitate the commercial development. Next slide, please. The applicant plans to amend the secondary plan to redesignate the subject site from executive residential to service commercial within the Vales of Castlemore Secondary Plan. A summary of the proposed regulations has been included on this slide. Next slide, please. The applicant plans to amend the zoning bylaw to rezone the subject site from residential rural estate 2 to service commercial. A bylaw amendment has been provided for the city's review. A summary of the proposed regulations have been included on this slide. Next slide, please. Staff have noted some key considerations and issues. They're listed here. Land use and built form with respect to appropriateness of the built form and landscaping adjacent to the neighboring residential community and suitability of lot dimensions. Construction impacts that will be monitored include ensuring the redevelopment potential of neighboring lands that are located within proximity are not unreasonably impacted by the proposed development. And as noted on this slide, construction impacts will be monitored throughout the development. Next slide, please. Staff are holding a statutory public meeting to share information regarding the official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment to give the public the opportunity to share concerns, perspectives, and opinions regarding this application. Staff will continue to review the application prior to preparing a recommendation report for council. Staff will follow up with residents who have spoken, written, or advised monitoring of the application as it moves forward. Next slide, please. The development application can be accessed by the public through Bramplan Online. Through the Bramplan website, community members can click search for an application, type in the associated file number. For this application, it will be OZS 2025-0037. The final recommendation report will be also posted on the PDC website in advance of the meeting. Next slide, please. This presentation will be made available to you shortly after the meeting has concluded. Once again, my name is Ellis Lewis, and my contact information is posted on the screen here, along with the applicant, Manny Chauhan, from G-Force Urban Planners and Consultants, who's representing Sukhjinder S. Jagna. If you have any questions, please contact myself or the applicant. Next slide, please. This concludes my presentation. Thank you and have a good evening.
Great job. Thanks, Ellis. We have Ryan Colville. Ryan, come on down. Welcome, Ryan. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening to everybody, committee members. Thank you, Alice, for the presentation. I'm here presenting on behalf of the Life of Louvain Association and all my other community members. We have a petition of 350 signatures at the moment, and that is a low-density area. The whole community is against this plan and the official amendment of the zoning bylaw. Can I go to the next slide, please? So 113 parking spaces, 2 stories, commercial building, does not really fit into the aesthetics of our neighborhood. Next slide, please. So the reasons for our for why we're against this is we're very supportive of community growth, and the specific proposal represents a highly car-centric, commercial, high-density model of development that will negatively impact our neighborhood safety, the environment, the kids traveling back and forth, walking on the street to get to the school, and a lot of the neighbors that are using the ponds that abut this planned commercial development. So it will negatively affect the quality of life of all people around there. The traffic congestion, the 113 parking spaces indicates an expectation of hundreds of daily vehicle trips into this community. It is a low-density, single family dwelling all over, and some really beautiful houses there. The massive influx of traffic into that area is not something that the community really wants. The curbs, it's a 2-lane road going into landscape. The curbs would have to be cut to get vehicles to go in, and with heavy commercial delivery trucks, etc., it wouldn't be acceptable within the community. Next slide, please. I'm going to shorten it a little bit more. The 350 signatures come from over 200 households within that area, and we would be happy to work with the developer to actually create something that goes with the neighborhood. And rather than have 350 signatures against it, we'd rather have something 350 signatures for it. That's why the whole community is against it, and we're willing to work with the developer. So the next slide, please. I think I'm going to wrap up. We fully urge the planning committee to reject this proposal and in its current form. We are looking for something with a smaller parking footprint and 1-story commercial development, and are happy to work with the developer to actually get to that. If the planning committee needs the petition with the signatures and people's names and numbers, they can contact me, and I'm more than happy to hand that over, as long as it maintains the privacy of everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your delegation. Anybody else like to come down and delegate on this item? Please come. There's 2 people there, so, yep. And then we're gonna have, staff are gonna come over, you're gonna record your name in the book over there. But the first one down, if you can go ahead and state your name for the record, and then hit the book after.
Hi, my name is Tina Gaudio. I'm a resident of Louvain, and I'm opposed of this construction completely. It will create congestion. We do have a plaza on the other corner of Airport Road in Mayfield with a lot of vacant properties there where businesses are struggling there. So there's no need to put commercial, an area there. I like to propose to reject that and put something else that can be used properly, not a plaza. We don't need construction, we don't need traffic jams, we don't need chaos. We would like something aesthetic, a park, anything else but that.
Thank you very much for your delegation. If anybody else would like to come down and speak, please come on down. You can form a line and write your name in the book, or after your delegation, please state your name for the record.
My name is Rifat Pervez, and thank you for allowing us to share our opinions. The plaza's entrance and exit off of Countryside is not viable. It's already a very crowded street, and cars will be waiting many, many minutes just to be able to turn on to Countryside. The plaza entrance onto Landscape is very dangerous. It is almost touching the park's walkway entrance as it is. It's like a 2-car distance When a car is coming off, getting onto landscape, and you are having people walking out of that parkway, and you have only 2 cars, like from me to that security guard, how will people be able to walk out of the parkway? I don't understand how this is even a possibility, how we are even looking at having an entrance right beside a parkway. On top of that, it's already been mentioned that landscape is already only a 2-car width. So when you have 1 car going this way, 1 going the other, where do you have the possibility for cars to come in and out? There is no room. I would hope that someone can come out there, walk there, stand there for the day, and take a look at this area, not just look at it on paper. It looks really big on paper. It is not a big area. It is very dangerous. I have had to myself get off that parkway, walk away from the park, and wait a good 2-3 minutes just to be able to cross that street. And that is a place where you're going with children, and children are not the quickest to cross. Please think about this carefully. This is not a good area for an entrance. It is very dangerous, and if there are any fatalities and any accidents there, it will be because of the cause of the city of Brampton. Please be ready to bear the brunt of that. It is very, very dangerous. This is a fully residential street. Like I'm saying, there's only 2 car widths over there. You will not be able to have anyone parking on the street anymore, and as it is, the people on that street are having a hard time having their friends come over or park to be able to go to their homes. With a plaza in front of them, the only thing they'll be able to do is have everyone parking in the plaza, which is not really nice. But anyway, we already have a lot of frustration right now when we are going on Countryside trying to turn left onto landscape. You have to wait for at least 2, 3, 4 lights. And by the time your light or your turn comes, you normally have to wait for the yellow light before you can turn left. So what happens when you're waiting for 2 or 3 lights and you get a yellow light and you're turning left? You are going to be going very, very quickly. Why? Because you've been already waiting a long time, and now you're trying to turn left and you're fighting traffic. So once you're going over there and you only have another 5 or 6 car spaces, and you have someone else who's been waiting on the other side trying to get out onto that same street, what are you gonna have? A lot of accidents, a lot of accidents. Okay, on top of that, I'd like to just say that we paid a lot of extra premium for these homes to make them estate homes, to make them nice areas. I think it's nice if we can do something to create a nice atmosphere and let our taxes go to what we've been paying the taxes for, keeping it in a nice area. As one of the other ladies already said, there is a plaza very, very close. If you look at the 1.5 kilometer radius, we already have 4 plazas in the area. And when you have all residential homes, no high rises, thank God, no big condos, you really do not need 4 plazas in 1.5 kilometers. Now you'll be making the 5th. It does not make any sense. The only one who's gaining from this would be the landowner, not the residents in the area, not the city of Brampton. I would hope with all of these permits coming up that the city of Brampton will start really, really thinking hard about how you're going to be rezoning everything. Because as you have less and less land available for rezoning, I hope you're more and more picky on how you rezone it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your delegation. Next, please. Please state your name for the record.
Hi, my name is John Zagala. I live on 58 Louvain Drive. Okay, so I'm opposed to this project, and a lot of my neighbors have articulated their concerns about, safety, traffic, potential kids getting run over. It's a really high traffic area, and there's a lot of kids that live on the other side of Countryside that go to Mount Royal Public School, which is basically they would have to cross that area to go to school. And by having like another a public parking lot there for the plaza, there's an increased risk, I feel, of kids getting run over, right? But besides that, the one thing I'd like to add that my neighbors haven't articulated yet is, about 18 months ago, the consultants met with the neighborhood online. Like they had it was an online meeting with about 200 people to present this plaza. And we overwhelmingly opposed this project for the exact same reasons we're articulating tonight. We looked at the plans. It looks like nothing's been addressed, really. We had the same concerns that, today that we had back then. And a lot of it had to do with, the intent of the plaza, the intent of the project, the amount of cars in the parking lot, that sort of deal. None of that, it looks like, none of that's been addressed, right? So if we were against it then, and it was an overwhelming number of us that were against it, I don't see that changing right now. I'm one of the 350 signatures on Ryan's petition. I imagine there's much more than that, to be honest. So, yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your delegation. So again, if you've come and delegated, you've signed your name in the book, you'll get information as that information comes out. You'll be notified when that report is coming. And also if you've sent correspondence, so you can see the list of corresponding people that have sent that, you will also be notified. If you want any additional information, or if you've forgotten something and like, oh, I should have asked that question, or I should have put that into record, you can contact Ellis. Again, I'll give you his home phone number. You can call him anytime, day or night. He is a great guy as well, so he's happy to take your calls. The area councilors are also fantastic. Deputy Mayor Singh, you have a deputy mayor in your area, so that's carries a lot of weight. And Councillor Tour is wonderful as well. With that, Councillor Tour, is there anybody else that'd like to come down? Last chance. Seeing none. Councillor Tour will move receipt of the delegations and the correspondence. All in favor? That carries. We still have quorum, right? Yes. Okay. The next item. That's it for statutory public meetings? That's it for statutory public meetings. Fantastic. We're on to the item 7.1, which was a stat meeting that was adjourned. Happy to move it. Councillor Powers moved that. All in favor? That carries. Item 7.2 is an application amend the official plan GLM Partners Forest Side Estates to facilitate the development of an 18-story residential apartment building consisting of 132 dwelling units and 2 levels of underground parking at 8840 the Gore Road, Ward 8. Are there any speakers? Councillor Power.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple questions for staff. The region has flagged a couple of like waste management, FSR, TIS, those types of issues. How is that going to affect this if we approve it?
Yeah, through the chair. Thanks for the question. So the applicant actually recently resubmitted submission materials to the city about 2 weeks or so ago. So those are with the region. I spoke with the region on Friday. They've now cleared the functional servicing report. They've also cleared the waste management plan. The only item that remains outstanding that's going to be incorporated within the holding provision is the requirement for a traffic impact study.
And when do you think that's coming through? Do you have any idea, timeline?
No definitive timeline yet. It'll be incorporated in the holding bylaw in the zoning. So the zoning won't come into effect until the TIS is submitted and satisfactory to the region.
And then next question is school board capacity. I know in that area of Ward 8, especially in the primary schools, there's a massive amount of children that get bused all the way to Ward 7 because we don't have enough schools in that area. The school board is saying that we wouldn't have enough capacity and they're over capacity at this time.
Sorry, through the chair. Yet at this point, the school boards have just identified the standard conditions to include within the development approval itself, but we can follow up with them as well to determine if there's any capacity constraints.
So right now they've got 1,600 enrolled with a capacity of 1,500 at Castlebrook. And then Ambrosic, which is a Catholic school, they have 1,500 enrolled and 1,200 capacity.
So both schools in the area are currently over capacity.
And they're the only two secondary schools for that entire area.
Is it safe to say we have nothing to do with that? Other than the fact that we can stomp our feet and say, you're over capacity?
Through the chair, through to you, to Councillor Power, if the school board hasn't raised any red flags with school board planning and capacities beyond municipal jurisdiction at this time.
Can the schools, can I?
Yeah, of course.
Mr. Councillor Power, can the school board come back later and say, oh, we need land? Is there land in the area that's set aside for school board? Anywhere close to this? Seeing none. None. Okay. Was this a formerly school lot?
No.
No, we're just saying that currently it's over capacity, the areas, the schools. Where's the closest empty lot or school? Is there any? There isn't any.
No.
And Councillor Power, I'm sorry, and I started asking questions over you, but we also have a delegation, and I apologize for that. But you continue, and then we're gonna bring Marshall Smith from KLM Planning.
Sure.
Their
I
delegation.
just, I guess the question to staff is if we have some of these challenges and have not yet satisfied the application, shouldn't we wait to even think about this?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, just to provide maybe some context for what we do see through some applications and what we understand through our discussions with the school boards. We understand that the demand for students from the given areas and residential areas in and around any particular school site changes over time, and that it's really some cyclical demand, while there is perhaps some higher level of demand, which leads to some need for temporary classrooms and portables on sites for a certain amount of time. Over the course of time, the level of demand changes, but where it is that a school board sees a particular issue and a concern relating to what is proposed relative to what they perceive the impact to be on their sites, they'll note those as particular concerns for us. I remember that they had in some instances in the past. Here, as Alex notes, they've identified the particular needs for an expected number of students and how it is over their current capacity to some degree, but they haven't noted any particular concerns. What I might deduce from that is there is maybe some cyclical nature here. There might be some increase now, like I'm saying, which might change over time, but staff can't maybe sort of presume some of these things. What we have to do is rely on their comments. They haven't noted any concern in that way at this point.
Okay, and then the final question I have, the intersection at Gore and Atmar, was it ever analyzed? Do we know? Was it ever part of the traffic study? Because that's where the congestion is going to happen.
Yeah, through the chair, that would be incorporated in the traffic study. And just for context, this lot here was actually approved through a previous plan of subdivision. It was originally approved as of right for 8 stories for residential. This just increased to that previous approval that was allotted for the site.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor. We have Marshall Smith, KLM Planning Partners, Inc., on behalf of the applicant to come on down and delegate. You have 5 minutes.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of committee. Thanks for having me this evening. Just hope that I can go through a couple of slides here. I'll do it very quickly. I know you have a full agenda tonight. So again, it's applications for official plan and zoning bylaw amendment, and Marshall Smith of KLM here on behalf of the owner. It's Royal Pine Homes and Forestside Estates Inc. Next slide. So this map shows kind of what's in the area as far as parks and schools. I know we've had a bit of a conversation about schools here. Maybe I'll focus on that very quickly. When those comments come through from school boards, they do identify for us if there are any issues with current capacity. But they also do have standard conditions that say if there are capacity issues at the schools that are closest to you or your preferred schools, that they would be busing those students to other schools that do have capacity. So there is a solution, a backstop that the school board brings forward. I guess I'll also add to that just by saying the school board remains somebody that's circulated or an agency that's circulated on the applications going forward. So we will have, after this application, as it was mentioned, a hold removal application And we'll also have a site plan application. And so that's where more detailed refinements get made to the plan, and those agencies have an opportunity to comment again. So again, I think it was mentioned that this site was already designated for an apartment building up to 8 stories under the existing secondary plan. That predated the 2023 Brampton plan that went through and the amendments to the MTSA for this area. This is within the Gore MTSA, so it's intended for intensification. Next slide, please. So here's that MTSA plan. It shows that this site is intended for an increase in height and density up to 12 stories. Now, in an analysis of what's going on in the broader area and considering the street that this has frontage onto, other applications in the area, I guess, namely the neighboring application for a 15-story building, which is mid-block, this site being on the immediate corner, makes sense that it would have a little bit more height than that block for, I guess, good street presence and undulation in height and decreasing height from the corner. Next slide. This just shows generally where the building is sited on the site, follows all of the City of Brampton's general urban design protocols, making sure that the tower has more than 12.5 meters from that north property line there, ensuring that you would get 25 meters separation between this building, the potential neighboring building to the north, and then it actually has also been contemplated in other development to the east, which has a private road that's been constructed and by this same developer and was meant to provide access into this site. I guess something else that I'll say is that, you know, acknowledging that the Gore Road is a regional arterial road, the circulation network has been situated along the north extent of the property, which would permit for, you know, any potential shared access that might come about through negotiation discussion with that neighboring landowner. Next slide. This shows the landscape plan, where the amenity space would be located, where the surface parking would be located. Should also mention the majority of parking is below ground within 2 levels of underground parking. But this generally illustrates that you'd get a green interface with public spaces and other surrounding properties. Next slide. General concept of what the building could like on the left, that's the north elevation. So if you were adjacent to that property to the north, which also has a high-rise building planned, and then the east elevation, which would front the Gore Road. And this is still being refined. There's a lot of room for, I guess, additional details to be added in articulation of the building, different elements, fenestration of the windows, and materiality. Next slide. That was really all I had. A big list of studies has been submitted to you. We have reviewed those studies with your staff, and as you've heard, we have gone a very good distance in having those studies reviewed, vetted by the municipality, the region, and other agencies, including the school board. Thank you.
Thanks, Marshall. Okay, Councilor Power. Do you have questions of the delegation? No, thanks, Marshall. You have questions of the report that's before us?
Yeah, I'd still like to go through the report a bit more and then speak more with the residents on this, so, I'm not satisfied with a lot of the stuff that's in this. The school board problem is a big issue, especially in that, sorry, I didn't know.
No, go.
But the school board issue is a big issue, and there's a lot of students that will be bused, and I hate having students on a bus for a half hour, 45 minutes to get to the other side of town. So if I could, sir, I'd like to defer it.
Okay. You can't. You spoke to it.
What?
You spoke to it already. Deputy Mayor Singh, you're on the board? Oh, that's a great idea. Thanks, Deputy Mayor Singh. Deferred to and for what? Give me a reason. Rationale. Further consultation? Yeah, that's fine. Further consultation. And then come back to a future planning meeting. Can we have a date for that? Are you okay? Next planning? Okay. So next-ish planning. We have 2 that are moving close together. We have one that there's things that are going on in planning meetings, so we're moving stuff around a little bit, but it'll come back within 30 days.
If I could, through the chair, just knowing if there's not only discussions with the school board, but that might then fundamentally change the plan, which would trigger discussions with the applicant. So if I could suggest that staff be afforded the time to bring this back before the last planning meeting in May.
Before the last planning meeting in May?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, perfect. Okay, thank you. Move deferral, all in favor? That carries. Our next.
I'm on the board, Mr. Chair. I'm on the board.
Oh, I apologize, Councillor Fortini, go ahead.
Yeah, just quickly about the school board. How do we deal with this when there is no school board? The province took over.
Speaking to the deferral, Councillor Fortini.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he asked the question about the school board.
No,
We're
speaking to the deferral.
The deferral, there is no school board to get more
Oh,
information.
sorry, the deferral is non-debatable. Do you want to hold your, it's too late.
Well, I was up before, my hand was up before, Deputy Mayor
Was
Singh.
he on
Anyway,
before Deputy Mayor Singh? Let's say
It's
yes.
okay.
Okay.
That's okay.
So
Don't worry.
before you came on, Councillor Fortini, you have the floor.
Yeah, I just was asking a question to staff. I know we need something back from the school board, but how do we do this if the province took over the school board? And, you know, the school trustees, the school board has nothing to do with anything no more. That's all I wanted to find out.
And I don't think, that's a rhetorical question. There's nobody here that can answer that. Thank you, Councillor Fortini. Deferral, all in favor, carries. Next item is 7.3, which is application amend the official plan and zoning bylaw Blackthorn Development Corp. We do have some delegations, but I only see 3 people online. Is there anybody here to delegate on this item? There are. You're here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Let's go down the list. Jitesh Kumar, come on down. And then Ronal Patel is next. Go ahead.
Thank you, Council. My name is Jitesh Kumar Tripathi, and I live in the area where this project is being proposed. I want to focus on one central issue. This application asks Council to take a very significant leap without sufficient certainty, without sufficient justification, and without sufficient protection for the existing community. The planning rationale relies on broad policies, not the local reality, meaning the provincial growth policies, housing targets, general intensification goals. All these are broad high-level directives. They are meant to guide growth, not to justify any scale of development at any given location. What is missing here is very clear and convincing explanation of why this specific site, which is surrounded by low-rise homes and designated for commercial and employment use, is appropriate for 3 high-rise buildings in such a small area. Planning must be context sensitive. In this case, the context is not being respected, it's overridden. The proposal depends on too many assumptions. The application depends on multiple future conditions aligning perfectly, like intersection upgrades that are not yet in place, coordination with external landowners, there is no explanation on that, surrounding developments that may or may not proceed as expected as things may change. Infrastructure capacity that is assumed rather than clearly demonstrated. Each of these introduces uncertainty, but once this project is approved and built, the impact of this development is going to be permanent for the local residents. Good planning is not based on best case scenarios. It should be based on readiness, coordination, and certainty. Now, concerns about school planning and transparency. I also want to address the input from the PDSB on this issue. There is a serious concern that the projected number of students from this development is significantly underestimated. Brampton has one of the largest household sizes in Canada, averaging about 3.6 people per home, compared to roughly 2.4 in Toronto and 3 in Mississauga. Nearly half of households in Brampton have 4 or more house members, and over a quarterly houses have 5 or more. Now, this reflects a community with larger family-oriented households and therefore more children per unit. When applied to development of 333 units, particularly one that includes a substantial number of 2 and 3 bedroom units, Standard planning metrics indicate well over 130 students could be generated. Now, potentially even more in given Brampton's context. So this raises a fundamental question. What assumptions were used to conclude that the impact of schools will be minimal? If those assumptions do not reflect Brampton's reality, then the impact on local school is being underestimated today, only to become a problem after approval in the form of overcrowding. This is not a minor oversight, it is a significant planning risk. Now, loss of employment lands without a broader strategy. The current designation allows for commercial and employment use. The proposal removes that opportunity and replaces with a residential density. Individually, this may seem reasonable, but cumulatively, it raises a large question. The scale feels driven by maximization, not a fit. When you look at this proposal, 3 towers, maximum height, high density, it gives the impression that the site is being pushed to an absolute limits. The question is not simply, can this fit on this page? The question is, does this belong here? So in closing, I would like to request all council members, please be considerate, given the situation that now OLT rights are gone from the residents, we highly rely on your decision expertise. So kindly think all these things, and school board decision like Pat raised, Fortuny raised, it may come back. We don't know, that may be temporary, or it may come back with some other body. So this issue is gonna remain. School's gonna remain an issue, and these kids in the school is the big issue. So I would really request all of you to please consider this and reject this proposal in the current format.
Thank you for your delegation. Brunel?
Thank you. Thank you all, Councillor, to give me a chance to speak. Again, as Jitesh Tripathi says, school is a big issue. The kids don't have enough room to sit in the school. Last month, January and February, my 2 kids goes to Castle Oaks Public School. They didn't go outside to play. Whole 2 months, kids cannot go outside to play. Why? The question. Because the wind throw the snow all on the grass and where the potables are, and also on the parking lot. So the staff has to park their car inside the property. So kids play area, they park the car in kids play area. So the gentleman over here, it says they're gonna build extra portable. There is no space to build the extra portable also. We try everything. Finally, we met to MPP last month. He only allowed 8 people to meet. If he allow more, it could be flooded over there with the parents, because it's an issue. The kids is issue. If we think other issue, we can solve with that, but kids is the issue. Please think about that. This is the school. The second thing, a recreation center. Past Monday, they opened for skating and swimming. I forget, 2 hours later, when I open, everything is full booked. So do we have recreation center extra for the kids? No. Do we have school for the kids? No. Do we have a park for the kids? No. What kind of infrastructure we are looking for? My question is that only. Thank you so much for
Thank you for
listening
your
to me.
delegation, Brunel. Diptash? Welcome.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So I strongly oppose this proposal because I have 8 points, and I think I will elaborate more. So first of all, infrastructure and school capacity, the first issue. The second issue is traffic congestion and road safety. The third one is emergency access and public safety in that area, loss of green space and environmental impact, incompatibility with existing neighborhood character. The sixth number is servicing and infrastructure capacity. The seventh one is lack of supporting community amenities. And the last one is precedent for future overdevelopment. So the first thing is very important is infrastructure and school capacity. Local schools are already operating at or near capacity. The addition of approximately 330 residential unit will place further strain on the education system with no clear provision or plan for expand school infrastructure or accommodation. The second thing is traffic congestion and road safety. Clarkway Drive and surrounding road network have limited capacity to safely accommodate increased traffic volumes. The addition of several hundred vehicles is likely to result in congestion, longer travel time, and increased vehicle emissions. Additionally, the absence of adequate pedestrian infrastructure combined with reliance on a limited access point creates serious safety concerns, particularly for children and family in that area. And emergency access and public safety. The proposal appears to rely heavily on a single point of access. This raises significant concern regarding emergency response time and evacuation safety. In the event of a fire or medical emergency, limited ingress and egress routes could pose a serious risk to residents and first responders. Loss of green space and environmental impact. The development provides minimum green space and does not appear to include meaningful parkland dedications. Increased density without adequate green infrastructure negatively impact air quality, urban heat, stormwater management, and overall community well-being. The fifth one is incompatibility with existing neighborhood character. The proposed building heights and density are not consistent with existing low-rise character or the surrounding area. The introduction of high-rise towers will result in adverse impacts such as shadowing, wind effect, noise, and reduced privacy for nearby residents. Servicing and infrastructure capacity. There are concerns regarding whether existing municipal services, including water, wastewater, and stormwater system, have the capacity to support this level of intensification without upgrades. Insufficient servicing could lead to long-term infrastructure strain. Lack of supporting community amenities, as Renal already mentioned. A development of the scale should be accompanied by appropriate community amenities such as park, recreational facilities, and community services. The absence of these elements places additional pressure on existing facilities that are already limited. Precedent for future overdevelopment. Approval of this proposal may set an undesirable precedent for similar high-density developments in that area, gradually eroding the established planning, vision, and character of the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your delegation. Vijay? Welcome, Vijay.
Thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak. Respected councillors and planning and development staff, I am writing to strongly oppose the proposed construction of a multi-story building OZS 2024-0039 located near 9379 Clarkway Drive, Brampton. The above proposed project, along with the previously approved OZS 2022-0019 located at 9445 Clarkway Drive, raises several serious concerns for the residents and the surrounding area. First one is traffic and safety issue. The construction of a 3 high-rise building in addition to previously approved project OZS 2022-0019 along with the highway and side by side close to each other will significantly increase the vehicle movement, creating traffic congestion and increasing the risk of accident. As we are already having traffic problem and accidents on Highway 50. Number 2 is parking problem. The project may not provide adequate parking facilities, which could lead to vehicle being parked on the roadside, streets and sidewalks on the highways, obstructing traffic. The third one is infrastructure strain. The current water supply, gas supply,
sewage system, and electricity infrastructure in the area may not be sufficient to support high-density multi-story development. It will create a significant energy demand that could lead to a higher energy cost during present condition of energy crisis and inflation. The fourth one is environmental concern. The project could result in a loss of green space, increased pollution, and negative impacts on the local environment. The fifth one is impact on the nearby resident. The building may block sunlight and ventilation for nearby homes and reduce the privacy for residents in the surrounding neighborhoods because the nearby housing residents do have occasional gatherings, swimming pools, and parties in their backyard. The sixth one is fire and emergency safety. High-rise buildings require proper fire safety infrastructure and adequate access for emergency vehicle, which may not be available in the current road layout. It will be extremely difficult for emergency vehicle to park if the entire area is full of vehicle parked because of the two approaching construction side by side in the close proximity of OZS 2024-0039 and OZS 2022-0019. The seventh is the zoning and planning compliance. It should be verified whether the proposed building complies with the local zoning regulation and height restriction for this area. The eighth is a public consultation. Local residents were not properly consulted regarding this development and their concern should be considered before granting approval. And the ninth one is educational institutions. There is not enough schooling infrastructure to support the future education need. The current Cashelmore School does not have enough space to accommodate all the students. In the view of above concern, I respectfully request the planning authority to review this project carefully and reconsider the granting permission for the proposed multi-story construction. A detailed traffic, environmental, and infrastructure impact assessment should be conducted before any approval is given. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Thank you very much for your delegation. Santosh? Online? Do you have Santosh? No? Okay. Nishant? Nishant? Online? No? Shalini? No? Ridwan? No? Prakash? No? Kiari? Hasmush? No? Hasmush? I don't see a Hasmush. Medeiros was on phone. He was listed, right? He was listed, yeah. Okay. Hemang? The last name Dave, so that was somebody that was here earlier. Their last name. No. Frank Knopfel? No. Number 14, Shank?
Good evening, Councilor. I'm here.
Hey, go ahead.
Thank you. Am I allowed to share my screen, if that is okay? Let me share my screen.
No.
No?
No.
I had. Okay. Good evening, Honorable City Council and everyone. Thank you for providing an opportunity to speak here. I'm the resident of Brampton who is directly impacted by the proposed new development of these condos and thus zoning bylaw amendment. I'd like to bring your attention to some of the aspects. I think one of the key things that is not directly visible, but we look the plan from just technical perspective. I humbly urge the elected representatives of this city council to hear our pledge as impacted residents, not just from the point of meeting the planning committee's objectives and provincial standards, but from a human perspective by being in the shoes of the residents of the community living there. So it is my sincere hope that the council, being our elected leaders and community representatives of this city, with powers, will understand our concerns and help the residents live a good life around that neighborhood. I think I had shared an image with the city staff just before the meeting started. So if that can be brought up, that would be great. If not, I'll just speak. So I think many of the previous delegates have already expressed various concerns. I had a picture that depicted an aerial view of the entire area, which is shared with the city staff in the email. I think that picture spoke 1,000 words. Then I would like to, where I had wished to show the aerial view of the neighborhood with some key legends around it. So I think existing, one of the key problems that we perceive as the biggest threat to the residents is right now, and that needs to be addressed immediately with the proposed development, is impacting our children's directly. As indicated in the final report by city's planning committee, the neighborhood has only 2 public schools on the west and north, on which both PDSB and Dufferin Catholic boards have expressed serious concerns on the limitation of available seats to accommodate the increased number of kids because of this new development. It's also proposed that some of the kids might have to travel and use bus to outside zone schools. This will cause serious constraints on schooling and safety of the kids for the newly developed units, as well as for the children from existing residential homes around that neighborhood. So imagine this entire stretch being surrounded by vehicles traveling at high speeds, posing security threats to small children who need to either walk or have their parents drive to schools, because most of the schools in and around that neighborhood are walkable schools. I would not want to send my kid walking to the school during those situations. So in closing, I would like to oppose this proposed amendment zoning bylaw and thus this new development. City should hear the grievance of residents and help them to live in their home versus leaving their homes. Thank you so much for this time and hearing my delegation. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your delegation. One last delegation is Sachin. Do you have Sachin online? No. Okay, that concludes the delegations. There's no correspondence. The application is here before us. The application to amend the, no, that's not the right one. Application amend the official plan and zoning bylaw. Been moved by Deputy Mayor. Any speakers? Seeing none. All in favor? That carries. Next item is item 7.4, application amend the zoning bylaw, temporary use bylaw, to facilitate the development of the industrial warehouse building with accessory truck trailer storage. Application also proposes to permit the parking and storage of oversized motor vehicles and trailers for a temporary period. 10590 Highway 50. Any questions? Seeing none. Been moved. Deputy Mayor, you move that. All in favor? That carries. Oh, there was a delegation on that. Design on behalf of the applicant. Well, you don't get to delegate anymore. You just approve your application. You good with that? Are they here? They're not here. 7.6 was done, was removed. 8.1. 8.1 is Bram West, staff report, and we have a delegation, Patrick Pearson from Glenn Schnarr and Associates. So we'll bring up the delegation first, and my plan is to kick this down, given I've heard a few issues. I'm gonna kick this down the road a little bit, and we'll see if we can resolve some of them. But I do want to hear what you have to say, in particular about the employment lands, right?
That's
okay. Go ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is Patrick Pearson. I'm a land use planner with Glenn Schnarr and Associates. As you guys are or maybe aware that we represent various landowners within the Block 40-5 landowner group, and we've been heavily involved within the secondary plan review process up until now. I guess just first off, I want to say thanks to staff. We've had a number of meetings, conversations, and attended community meetings and open houses. And I'm hopeful that we can sort of resolve some of our issues. And I just want to say thanks for including us in all the consultation to date. So yeah, I guess we've read the staff report and we have a few concerns. I guess the first one I want to discuss is the employment forecast. So we reviewed the technical memo from Watson Consulting, which provided an analysis of the employment land needs assessment in the secondary plan area. The preliminary analysis identified that there was a need for additional employment lands within the secondary plan area. However, we, I guess, sort of disagree with the methodology that was used at the time, or outlined in their analysis. So in their report, they excluded the Maple Lodge Farms land holdings, which is a large land holdings within the secondary plan area that's currently designated as employment. So that wasn't included in their overall supply calculation, which obviously impacts the findings. We were told this was done because Maple Lodge Farms identified that they did not have a immediate need or intent to develop or sell lands. So we're of the opinion that the employment supply should obviously be based on current land use designations and their currently designated employment, as well as developability, and they are vacant developable lands, portions of them anyways, and not just the stated intent of one single landowner. So we suspect that if these lands were included in the analysis, it would have changed the findings, much of which included expansion of employment lands beyond the existing employment area, and it impacts a number of our client sites, as you can see on the site, or on the figure on the screen. So with that being said, we would recommend that staff go back and work with Watson to sort of refine their final report. I know there's a report coming forward with updates to their memo. So we would recommend that staff work with them and request that the Maple Lodge Farms land holdings are included in their final analysis. And I guess another item, and we've spoken to this before and delegated to this item as well. There are a number of properties, primarily the ones highlighted on the screen. Those are the landowners we represent. That those sites rather currently benefit from residential land use permissions in the in effect secondary plan. You can see on the screen that some of them are not, are being proposed for employment uses as well as a special employment overlay. These owners purchased the lands with the understanding that they would benefit from the in effect residential permissions. We don't think that these landowners and other landowners in the area should bear the consequences of a single landowner's decision to develop or not to develop. So with that being said, we recommend that the committee respect the existing residential permissions that are provided within the in effect secondary plan, primarily with respect to the lands that are shown on the screen. The committee will also notice that the recommendation report from staff had two land use concept plans. One was the recommended land use concept plan, which is shown on the screen. And then there was an alternative land use concept plan. So from what I understand, the main difference between the two plans anyways is there are some lands south of Embleton Road that in the recommended plan are shown as employment. Can we flip to the next figure, please? And this is the alternative land use plan. You can see the lands south of Embleton, they're highlighted sort of in the yellow color with the employment overlay. So the alternative plan respects the existing residential land use permissions, and we represent the property owner highlighted in site number 4 there. So we recommend that the committee support this alternative plan. There is an employment overlay that is shown on these plans, which the intent was to sort of address some of the initial findings of the Watson report. So they're looking for additional areas to expand these employment uses, and from what I understand, the intent of these policy overlays is to look for sort of site-specific or alternate ways to try to find compatible land uses with a mixture of residential and employment.
Sure.
But again, these clients purchased the sites and invested in the city with the understanding that they had residential permission, so we would recommend.
So, and I get the employment portion of it. the residential purchasing when, I'm not sure I understand that one, or the other one about, wanting to build residential regardless of anybody else around them. Happy to unpack that, further down the road. Want to make it very clear, we're not in the business of making people more money than they have. And if that's where you're going with that, then none of our business, nor do we care. But the fact is, I think we're specifically around the employment lands, and you look at what we're doing, what's happening with Stellantis today. Did we ever think Stellantis was gonna be anything other than a Chrysler dealership? No, but that's the world we live in right now. Maple Lodge Farms, fantastic employer, fantastic business, May family, fantastic individuals. Don't want them to go anywhere, very happy with them, but you never know what's gonna happen. And I think you're right to the fact that we wanna make sure that the employment lands are all captured employment lands, and using those numbers is something especially that we should be doing. So that's why I'm referring it, or deferring it back to staff. There was two other reasons. Do you want me to mention them now? Might as well mention them publicly. The other reason was the west end, and I spoke to Councillor Keenan, west end of, east side of Mississauga Road. The land going up, making it work, live, continuing to make, thank you for your delegation.
Sure, no, yeah. Yeah, thank you, but.
And happy to receive your delegation.
Sure, I was just gonna say, we're not looking to, impact Maple Lodge Farms either. We're just wanting to make sure that those designated employment lands are included in the sort of analysis.
And I think we agree with that.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm not sure what happened, but we'll get to that.
Okay.
So thank you for your delegation. So the other one, the lands east of Mississauga Road, making those just like the ones that were built, south of that were currently already built, live, work.
Through the chair, it's my understanding that there's a desire from the landowners to ensure compatibility of live work. And speaking with staff, that is the eventuality, but perhaps referring or deferring this back to staff, we can make that more clear to the owner and work with the owner to ensure that the right instruments are there.
Okay, and then the lands targeted, and see what we can do in working with the landowners as well. The other thing is, Shannon, and I'll let you jump in. We have some sensitive uses on the south side of Embleton right now. Currently, let us not pick an area, but we have, we have a women's shelter. We have some other sensitive areas in there. I think that's something that we should talk about too, making sure that they're protected, making sure that they rent, but we need to be the ones to come to say, hey, these people need to be protected. So what can we do there? Maybe if that's a conversation as well we can have. Shane, you want to jump in? Or you're good?
I'll speak to one thing through the chair. There's a couple of things that you mentioned, especially for the lands on the east side of Mississauga Road. I just wanted to address that fact quickly. So we are doing a citywide employment study to reconcile the provincial changes in the definition for areas of employment. And that's something that we factor into too in that Watson analysis. So they don't consider it as, and we'll take that back. We'll continue working with the landowners group there in 40-5. But as part of that overall work, we will be looking at the area on the east side of Mississauga Road, and that's going to be really what we'll implement through Bram West Secondary Plan Review. So we know that there was some correspondence on that fact, and so we've heard that before, and we've communicated to them before too through meetings that we will be reconciling that through that more larger scale process that's citywide.
Good. And Shannon, who's doing that work?
That work is done by Hempson Consulting.
Hempson is currently doing that, and that's based off of what the province says is a job, because what the province says is a job and what I say is a job is two different things. So I want to make sure that we identify, job is a job is a job. People work at a supermarket and they have two jobs right now too, so that qualifies for us anyways. It's a different world than where it was back then, where a job was considered to be in a bank or in an office or something to that effect, but it's different here today. For me, a job is a job is a job. Okay, thank you. Deferring this to a future date to have it come back. No timeline? Let's just work, get it done and get it back. Happy with that? Is that okay? Okay. Perfect. Happy to receive the delegation. And the correspondence. And the report is referred. Thank you very much. All in favor? Carries. That's all the correspondence. The CIP went into consent, right? Yep. Active went into consent. Correspondence, Kevin Freeman went into consent. 10.1. Heritage went into consent. As members of Regional Council will know, there's a really big item on the agenda on Thursday, the Water and Wastewater Infrastructure Plan and Update. Not to get into this too much unless any members would like to ask any questions, but even in that, we have infrastructure projects that are currently being done at the Region Appeal, and yet there was a little bit of a hiccup on one of the appendices that it showed a west side of Heritage Heights as a long-term, where we consider it to be mid-term, especially since that the pipe is going in the ground, like construction is I believe is starting for that work. So in long-term, 2031 certainly doesn't make sense, 2034, sorry. So 2028, 2033 is more of that midterm that we certainly agree with. We've had public meetings already for the west side of Heritage Road. We have precinct and draft plans that are imminent, and so that we certainly need those that to be added to the region's report. So the motion is here before you. If you're all good to take it as read, unless you would like me to read it out, but we need to get this to the region for them to add it to the report. That's the big thing. And I know that it's not going to council, it's planning committee's recommendation that this go to regional council need, and I'm happy to hopefully get everybody's support for that. Anybody like me to read it out? Seeing nobody, will be taken as read. Happy to move it. All in favor? That carries. And you're sending that to the region, right? Yep. Does it say that? It shall be done. Okay. All right, perfect. There's no general correspondence. Councilor question period. Any members of council have any questions? Anything related on the agenda here today? Seeing none. Public question period. Any members of public like to come down, ask any questions about anything that was related to the agenda? Anybody online? Seeing none. No closed session. Adjournment. Been moved by Councilor Vincente that our next regular scheduled meeting is Monday, April 13th. Maybe. We might be moving that, I think. All in favor? Carries. Have a great night, everybody.